the millennials? Coddled, entitled?
Yes, I think so.
Millennials don't get off the couch very often.
Millennials don't want jobs.
A recent study found that a majority of them feel like they live paycheck to paycheck.
At the end of the month, and you're kind of like, whoa, it costs this much to live.
Growing wealth gap between millennials, those
idea and this dream and this vision of where my life was going to go. And then I had to put it on hold because there weren't jobs out there.
I still haven't recovered from 2008.
The American dream is a virtue that is ingrained in the United States way of life. The hard-working, resilient, and innovative ideal brought Americans incredible amounts of wealth throughout the 20th century. We saw just how powerful and influential a nation could become. The post-World War II era saw a country rise as a financial and cultural leader. During this century, generations flourished at the sight of countless economic opportunities. So let's dive into this phenomenon. Why are Gen Z and Millennials poorer or less wealthy compared to their parents? What are some of these reasons and theories behind this? The simple truth is many Gen Z and Millennials aren't living through the same plethora of economic opportunities that their parents or grandparents once did. It can be noted that America's newest generations are having a tougher time paying off student loans or just simply owning a home. Simple things like buying a new car can be very challenging. Inevitably, Gen Z and Millennials are poorer than their parents. Now, the irony of this is that salary growth has gone up, but purchasing power has declined heavily. In the 1970s, the average annual salary for a public school teacher in the United States was around $6,000 to $13,000, depending on where you lived. On an hourly basis, this roughly translates to $3 to $6.50 an hour. As of 2021, average annual salary for a public school teacher in the US was around $50,000 to $60,000. On an hourly basis, this is around $25 to $30 per hour. But here's the kicker. In the 1970s, a teacher's salary was relatively modest, and it was still a comfortable way for a middle-class lifestyle. They could afford a home, buy a car, and cover basic expenses. The cost of living was significantly lower, with lower housing prices, cheaper healthcare, and less expensive education. In the present day, a teacher's salary in many cases has not kept up with the rising cost of living. Many teachers find it challenging to afford homes in expensive areas. There's a reason why we always hear that teachers aren't paid as much as they should be. A lot of it stems to the fact that purchasing power has rapidly diminished, and it's diminished at an even faster rate. Take a look at this. For staple goods, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the Consumer Price Index for food has increased around 61% from 2001 to 2021. That is around 20 years of 61% growth rate. In 2001, the average American household spent around 12.6% of their income on food. In 2022, that figure has risen to around 13.5%. That means that same grocery run that your parents made around 20 years ago when millennials and Gen Z were kids is a lot higher today. Depending on your city, grocery store prices can be expensive, but many of us aren't living in low-priced areas because, well, those low-priced areas don't have those high-paying jobs, which might bring us to our next point. Younger generations are more inclined to live in a city and urban areas. The National Multifamily Housing Council states that in the US, the demand for rental housing has increased over the past decade. Well, duh. Yeah, it's driven by the preference for urban living among young adults. On the other hand, the supply of rental units has not kept with the pace of the demand. It's led to rising rental prices. The stat goes to show that there's a preference for higher price rental properties, which are in urban areas. That's where the jobs are. Add to this, purchasing a home has never been more expensive. The nationwide median price of a single-family home and condo is up around 2% from the Q2 of 2023. This is a new record of $351,000. Millennials and Gen Z aren't ready to take this huge challenge. In the time of boomers and Gen X, buying a home was cheaper. Food and larger purchases or cheaper. According to the US Bureau of Economic Analysis, the price of new cars has increased around 23% from 2001 to 2021. In 2001, the average cost of a new car was around $20,000. By 2020, this has risen over $40,000, according to Kelley Blue Book. So in total, everything has gone up in terms of living. Everything's more expensive. This has inevitably decreased the wealth of younger generations. But what gives Gen Z and Millennials are, of course, way more educated than their parents. So should these generations be better off? Well, in terms of salary, yes. The children of Boomers and Gen X are making more income, but the Consumer Price Index tells a different story. The US Bureau of Labor Statistics reports that the Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers has increased around 264% from 1980 to 2020. This reflects the overall increase in the cost of living over the past few decades. On top of that, the fact that younger generations are more educated also brings the notion that these younger generations will presumably have more debt. Looking at the data here in 1970, the average cost for in-state tuition at a public four-year college was around $358 per year. In contrast, by 2020 to 2021, in-state tuition has risen approximately $10,560 per year. Today, Gen Z and Millennials feel pressures to go to college, even if they don't feel super confident in it. With college tuition prices rising so fast, many young Americans don't have a choice but to take on student loans to pay off their tuition. Unless those students get good paying jobs post-graduation, many will have big payments to make every month. As of 2020, the national cohort default rate was around 8.7% for 2017. This means that almost around 10% of Americans that graduate post-college aren't able to make those monthly payments. Lower income Americans are still very likely to take out loans to go to school. And without any backing from back home, they will have to take out larger loans than their high middle class income peers. This puts many low income Americans having huge amounts of debt, especially if they attend a four-year or even private institutions. The even trickier thing here is that colleges know that loans will continue to pay for tuition and room and board costs. Higher education is in a weird place in terms of a free market. There really isn't new competition entering the market to decrease those prices. Colleges are in a financial battle to gain as many students to attend their universities as they can. They're making colleges like resorts, according to many experts, spending millions of dollars on new dorms, rec centers, and funding students to go on expensive trips. It appears that this won't be changing anytime soon. It's the only way that these colleges know how to get new students into their doors. And unfortunately, the American consumer is paying for that price, and it's coming out of their wallet. This is a large reason why college costs have skyrocketed so high. Another factor that cannot be understated is the fact that boomers saw a huge boost in economic prosperity as a result of the post-World War II boom, the tech boom, and other financial booms across the 20th century. Older generations of Americans saw a huge boost of technological innovation that paved the way for countless new industries where they could be the pioneers of those said industries. This huge boom of innovation really hasn't happened the same way in Gen Z and Millennials' lifetimes. Millennials did see a second tech boom, if you will, with semiconductor, mobile computing, and social media revolutions. But this doesn't compare to the industries that boomers had the opportunity to enter early. The real estate, global banking, and auto, manufacturing, and healthcare. Put simply, boomers and older generations were given a better hand, and many made the most of it. Another major reason for boomers gaining a massive advantage here compared to millennials or Gen Z is the larger cohort theory. Basically, the theory argues that being born into a larger generation gives you an advantage over other generations. In their work, Howie and Strauss analyze generational dynamics and the impact of different generations on society. Their analysis provided insights on just how generational size and characteristics can influence social, economic, and cultural trends. They talked about how the baby boomer generation has played a significant role in shaping various aspects of American society. Baby boomers held significant economic influence. Their large population created massive consumer markets, shaping industries and markets to cater to their preferences and needs. As baby boomers entered the workforce, their numbers led to an increased demand for labor. This resulted in lower unemployment rates and higher wages. Many were able to secure stable employment and build long-term careers. Many enjoyed defined benefit pension plans, providing them with reliable source of retirement income. Due to their significant population, baby boomers also wielded considerable political clout. Politicians had often tailored their policies and campaigns to appeal to this huge generation. It isn't all doom and gloom for millennials and Gen Z. These generations have the most information at their disposal in human history. Therefore, having this huge competitive advantage of having the internet as well as just social media channels can really unlock an enormous amount of potential within these generations. This is something that older generations never even dreamed of, to have all this information at your disposal. Although basically everything is more expensive now than it was 50 years ago, there are a lot of learning tools out there and an enormous amount of information to educate yourself. So millennials and Gen Z might be a lot more financial savvy than their parents. No matter what era that we will be in, we'll always have these unique challenges. One thing is certain, things are changing, and they're changing fast. Well guys, I hope you like this video. I hope you like this sort of topic. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really helps us out, and it really helps grow the channel. And like always, we'll be back with another video.